Good morning. Welcome to the next installment in Cloudville's Telecom 360 use case walkthroughs. Today we'll be talking about bulk and batch orders. A little bit about the use case that we're going to be going through. We have an established client that wishes to order mobile services for the employees across 2 locations. So they've prepared a file for us, including the employee names, the plan that they've selected, where they are, their IMEIs, billing details, all of that type of stuff. We're going to upload that file into the system, and we're going to see that the orders are automatically created, validated, and submitted. We're also going to take a look at the import log and review it to identify any problem orders so that we can correct the files and reload them if need be. Okay, let's begin. I'm going to log in. So sales agents. I'm brought to my dashboard. In this case, I'm just going to go straight to orders because we've got a file that we know contains orders. And we'll see the import button in the top right here. So I'm going to select import, and we're going to browse and pick up this file. Now, before we go further, let me show you the contents of the file. Okay, the client at hand is Jasper Wines, and they've given us a comma separated value file to process. Let me just show you that file. It's got the order number as the first column, and you'll note that there's 2 order numbers, 156248 and 156249. So we've separated their batch into 2 orders, and it looks like we've done it by location. So the first order is location Etobicoke, and we've got 3, 6, 9, 10, 11 subscriptions coming in. We've got the employee names, their IMEI, and all of their other details. You notice here that we've got the product category, and then we've got the individual product ID. And then in this case, it's a code we pass them based on the plan. It's the plan that they've selected. And we have a second order for their Montreal location. And in this case, we have 8 lines to establish, or 8 mobile phones to establish. And they're selecting the same plan, but they've given us different details here. And the flexibility of the order, you can see that we have an order line that gives us everything. Okay, contact info, the accounts, bill to address, ship to address, the locations. We don't have to put this on 2 different orders. We could have put both locations on 1 order, but in this case, we chose to do this. So let's move back into the application now. Okay, we're back into the application. And as you recall, we selected the file. Now we're going to select the map. And the map is essentially a translation between the input file format and what Cloudville needs in terms of its processing. So Cloudville provides a default format. It's called sales orders. Or you can create custom formats. And a common use for this is for large clients that insist on providing you the data in their format. You're able to create your own map so that you don't have to force them to change to adopt yours, or to change your own format. So now we're going to select that. The type is an order, and the submit button controls whether when the orders come in, they go into draft status, or whether they're actually submitted right away for processing, which is what we're going to do. And then we import. The system goes out and processes all the files. In a very large file, you would see the duration increasing and progress meter in terms of the number of orders processed and the number of errors. So in this case, you've seen that we've processed 1 order, and we're working on the second one, and it's completed. And this one actually looks pretty good. There's no error messages indicated, and I'll show you what it looks like if we have an error message in a second. So we're going to close this dialog. If we refresh the order search, you'll see that we've got 2 orders here created as we expected. 1 for the Etobicoke location and 1 for the Montreal location. Let's open up one of these. And you'll see the customer has been selected with the billing address, the account that we specified, and if we go and take a look at the cart, you'll see Mobile Traveler is the product that they selected. You recall the product code that we had in the file, translated all the way as we imported it. You'll see a subscription ID. So we've triggered the subscriptions, and I'll show you that in a second. And we can see the configuration. So this is associated with a subscriber called Harry Winston at the Etobicoke branch. And each, of course, has their own configuration. So Keith Waters is the next one. Now let's take a look at the subscriptions. The order, by the way, has been submitted and is in processing. And it's the subscriptions that are in processing. And we've been talking. So most of them are still in initiated status. And you'll see if we open one up and we go to the tasks, you'll see that we're running the mobile activation via the element management system. Okay, so now coming back into the system a few minutes later, you'll see that the services are now active because that mobile activation request to the EMS has been complete, and we can see that through the status here. The activation request was sent, and now it's complete. It's in completed status. So if we go back up, we can see we have an active service, and we can now perform our changes like change address, change payment, add an extra charge, all of that type of stuff. Okay, so now let's switch gears and take a look at kind of the back end, but it's accessible to anybody with authority. They can take a look at the imports, and they can take a look at the history of them. So the ones that we just did right now, the Jasper wines, we can open it up and we can see that there were 2 orders, 28 lines, and if we look at the details, there's no messages, no events. We have another one here. We can take a look, and obviously it's flagging it as having errors. So if we take a look at those errors, you can see that there are validation rules that were violated. On the first order in there, on line 4, there was provided an external order ID, and that already existed in the system. So the system is checking to make sure you're not submitting the same order twice. So it rejected that whole order. And on the second order in the file, it looks like they were ordering a product that was no longer in service. It had been withdrawn from public availability, and so we throw an error here. Okay, and before we wrap up this use case, I'd like to mention that the same functionality is available to batch imports. In other words, we can schedule jobs on a periodic basis, whether it be every minute or every day, to go out to an FTP server or a file server, import any files that we find there, present the results here, and process the good orders. And that's useful for a bunch of use cases. Could be a third-party call center or application that's creating orders and dumping them out as files. We can process them from there. It could be an electronic bonding with one of your key clients, or it could be a reseller or wholesaler that's sending you bulk orders. All of those scenarios are possible via this same facility. And that concludes our use case for today. Thank you very much. Have a good day. As always, if you have any questions or would like to schedule a more in-depth demo, please contact us at sales@cloudville.com.